Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Tissue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Godzilla Minus One. This is a new film from 2023, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 5 minutes. As of the recording of this video, we have a Rotten Tomato score of 96% from the critics, 97% from the audience, and a Letterboxd average rating of 4.1. In this film, in a post-war Japan is at its lowest point when a new crisis emerges in the form of a giant monster baptized in the horrific power of the atom bomb. This is from director and writer Takashi Yamasaki and stars, and please bear with me, Ryonosuke Kamiki as Koichi Shikishima, who is our main protagonist, Minami Hamabe as Noriko Oishi, Yuki Yamada as Shiro Mishuda, who is nicknamed The Kid, Munetaka Aoki as Sosaku Tachibana, the mechanic, Hidetaka Yoshioka as Kenji Noda, aka Doc, Sakura Ando as Sumiko Ota, who is our neighbor, and Kuronasoke Sasaki as Seiji Akitsuko. So, if you saw my initial reaction, without any hyperbole at all, this is the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen. Now, granted, I have only seen most of the American films. I haven't seen a lot of the original Toho films. So, going on this journey, I was very excited because we've been getting a lot of Godzilla content very recently. You know, the Monarch show on Apple Plus. I think it's fantastic as well. But this is completely different. It's a completely different feel, a completely different story. The approach is very different. But I really enjoyed this film all throughout, like from beginning to end. It was kind of a non-stop adventure. So let's talk about a few different things that I really enjoyed. First of all, the story here. Uh, I really liked it. I really like that. I like seeing Godzilla as the adversarial form, as opposed to kind of like like in the 2014 American film, Godzilla ends up kind of protecting the people. Nah. I don't want to see that because the fact that Godzilla is a threat that has emerged in a country that has just been devastated by war, and everything that happened, like all those people trying to rebuild their lives, get everything back together, people that are struggling with all the things that happened to them in the war, losing their people, and then out of nowhere, this giant monster comes back, and you would think all their hope would be lost, but they are able to kind of rally and try to, like, and try to face this monster. So I really like that aspect of it, of like these people that are so resilient, uh, that they learn from they've learned from the past, they've learned from their past experience, and they're willing to face those demons again to protect their loved ones, their people, their family, their country. Very cool stuff. But yeah, there's definitely a big through line of maybe criticizing some of the decisions made by the government during the war, as well as some of the tactics, and I won't go too deep into it because it's a very big part of the emotional story. But just kind of seeing these people rally together to try to take out Godzilla in an incredible fashion. Um, Now let's talk about Godzilla himself. Great creature design, very different. He's a very chunky boy, which I really enjoyed. um it looked very good. All the effects, like, to me, there was maybe like one or two places where I was like, okay, this looks a little off, but other than that, like, throughout this 2 hour film, you see a lot of the monster and you see him in different stages, which is really cool. The creature design I really liked. I like how bottom heavy he looks. I think that makes him more menacing. I think in some other iterations he's a little bit like more evenly distributed, but in this one he's just very bottom heavy. I love the spikes in his back. I think those are very cool. I like the effects of when he does the ray. Those are like, just, it looks great. I think the way it kind of builds up to that, it's really fun, and it just looks fantastic on this screen. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. I think every iteration that we see of the Godzilla monster, and like, whether he's swimming in the ocean, whether he's stomping out a city, whether he's larger or smaller or whatever the case may be, because this story takes place over quite a few years actually. So it's very interesting to see that, and also how um, when he finally collides with, whether it be like a boat or an airplane or whatever he's trying to fight up against. Very interesting, very ruthless Godzilla here. This Godzilla is definitely out just to claim its territory, which makes it very interesting. Because I know a lot of people say like, I just want to see the monsters, I don't want to see like the human, but I think it's because the human story sometimes is not very interesting. Whereas in this case, there was a lot of really fun. Well, there was a lot of interesting, fun stuff. There was a lot of emotional stuff. There was a lot of very poignant stuff as well. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of commentary on the war and also just kind of society in Japan overall at the time. Um, and there's some very charismatic characters. I think one of my favorites was the character named Kenji Noda, who they called Doc. Um, he's just a very endearing character. He's a weapons creator, so like very interestingly, he's one of the people in the war that once the war was over, his job was kind of done and he had to go out and do something else. I think our protagonist as well, he goes through a lot during the film. Um, there's a lot of themes here about like kind of found family as well, like as you're trying to rebuild your life, right? That's really cool. Like just the way these people kind of get together and rally together. So, and then here comes this giant monster trying to take it all away from you, like something once you finally found. So yeah, our protagonist has a very interesting journey where they deal with a lot of their demons from the war. They have a lot of trauma from the war as well, and they also just kind of want to have a normal, like feel like they deserve and they've earned the life that they have currently. So very cool stuff. Like it's just very interesting stuff. Um, but yeah, the characters were all very fantastic. Like it's a small cast of like main characters, but there's a lot of people. Like there are some scenes that are very grand, right? Whether it comes to like a giant destroyer boat or some larger sequences in the city when they're exiting. Like you may have seen, like Godzilla attacks the city during the trailers. So it's very very cool. Like, um, yeah, I really enjoyed that. One of my favorite things in this movie as well was the music. The score was fantastic, and I think a lot of it has to do with the Godzilla theme being being so memorable and epic. Like, but it's in the way that it's used here, and it's used in a few sequences. But the first time you hear it, it's about maybe 2/3 halfway into the film, and it has such big impact because it's such a big sequence that's about to kind of kick off, and that theme when it hits is like telling you like here it comes, right? Yeah, and it's just a fantastic score. So very very well done, very well put together. This movie is just a very well put together movie, which I think is why it's resonating so much with a lot of people. And like I said, it's a very different take from what the American films are doing with the Godzilla universe and the MonsterVerse. Um, I would love to see more of this. I think you can definitely bring in more stuff. I think you can kind of rebuild. I think the fact that they called it -1 is it's a little bit telling of like, hey, maybe we are gonna start this, but let's do kind of like this prequel and this new kickoff, like this reboot thing. So I don't know. I would love to see more stuff from this. Like I said, it was a great story. It was very emotional. There was two moments where I almost teared up, uh, because that's how hard the film is hitting. And there was moments where you're just cheering, and there's some moments where you see like just the first time Godzilla shoots the ray. It's such a big crescendo to the movie. It's really cool stuff. So hopefully I didn't spoil too much of the movie. I don't think I spoiled any actual story details. But yeah, I would love to rewatch this to see how. I think rewatchability is a big, big aspect of what makes a good film. But obviously, I can't do that on an initial review. So yeah, stay tuned. Follow me on Letterbox if the score changes or maybe goes up. There's been quite a few films that I've rewatched recently that the score's been bumped up just because of how rewatchable I think they are. So yeah, this was fantastic, really cool stuff. So as always, thank you for watching, everyone. If you have seen this film, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Also, Give me recommendations for some of the other Godzilla films, not the American ones, but like some of the Japanese stuff that I should look into that maybe has a similar vibe to this, even if the look is a little bit different. I think this is the first time Godzilla kind of looks more like this. I do need to watch Shin Godzilla. I hear that was a very good movie as well. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. So thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here on the channel. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.